So I'm going to go to one more viewer question from Gigi, and she mentioned about the annual review. Is it on the way out? And she says, in the new workplace, I think it creates more harm than good. Well, she may be right. I'm hopeful that we're getting to a trend of less formal, more frequent engagement.
Yeah.
And so I want to get to something that you probably saw last week, and this was from a study by Gallup and Workhuman. It was just published last week, and it talks about the additive effect of weekly recognition. This is interesting. Less than weekly recognition tended to correlate with lower levels of workplace engagement than more frequent weekly or whatever engagement, whereby it's less formal.
Yeah.
Goes to those metrics that you talked about, cause and effect, perhaps even some of the stakeholder buttons, if you will. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think that this is dead on with what I'm seeing in practice. And I think that, there's another stat similar to this. It's like one good conversation a week is enough to like move the engagement scale of everybody significantly. One good, meaningful conversation. So I love this for so many reasons. First of all, I think that feedback is more effective when it's given in the moment rather than if we go back to the question that Gigi asked, yearly review. If someone's giving you feedback about in January what happened last July, it's not really going to have much meaning. But if you are like in a meeting right now, you say, hey, can I just quickly give you some feedback about what just happened? Or can we talk tomorrow about what just happened? That's going to be way more impactful than giving it 6, 8, 9 months later. So I love the idea of weekly recognition. I think that people literally need it. And I think it's a more effective way to give feedback. I think that giving it in the moment and also making it a bit more spontaneous, having less weight around it, having less pressure and less stress, and just kind of making it part of your day-to-day, part of the way that we work. I think that it's incredibly effective.
Well, I'll put some pedal to the metal here. For one particular new entrant to the workplace who is learning how to do their job and feels like for the first 3 to 6 months they were muddling through.
Sure.
Getting this kind of feedback, and I heard from this person, getting this kind of feedback, and the feedback was said person really, delivered on this project. Here were the metric outcomes that happened. And the metric outcomes were money. They weren't percentage increases or whatever that could mean anything. They were the positive revenue delta that happened because this person did X, Y, and Z. And what she said to me, it was a she said, that was like a B12 shot. Suddenly I gained confidence I didn't know I had.
Sure. That makes perfect sense. Perfect. And I think that it's vital for new workers, but I think it's equally as important for those of us who've been around for a while, right? You want to know that you're doing, one of the key markers of happiness and satisfaction at work is clear, like knowing what's expected of you, clear expectations. And the way that you establish those expectations and the priorities is in these weekly conversations.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely. And it's so easy to do. It's so easy. Why aren't we doing it?
She said it was spontaneous.
Right.
It popped up in a team meeting. I want to call out her accomplishment last week. We didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And she said it filled her sails. And whether that's in the workplace or in the schoolroom, I mean, my daughter's studying to be a nurse now, and getting some recognition from the faculty members turned uncertainty into getting A's on tests.
Of course.
And I said to her, Darren, you've hit a new milestone. Keep going. Keep going.
Sure.
So I can imagine equally as effective in the workplace. And yes, you bring up a very good point. We are a 5-generational workplace right now.
Yeah.
And even people who are, at the late end of baby boomers who are still there are learning new things. The job that they're doing now is so different from the job they were doing 3 years ago.
Yeah.
4 years ago, pre-pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that on this note, it is important to call out that, and this would be something that Gen Z calls attention to, right? So
Yeah,
it's this idea of giving recognition. We need to know that different people like to get recognition in different ways. So
right.
while some people might love to get that recognition and that feedback in a team meeting surrounded by other people might need to receive it in a quieter, more singular environment. So I think it's important with that recognition and with those one-on-one conversations that we acknowledge that there are differences in how people want to receive it. And I think that that's important.